Welcome back to the Smugsy Show. I'm Smugsy, your host, identifying as the Barstool Cougar. Today's November 4th, 2020, the day after the big election in the United States. We still don't have a winner. The score is, as of this broadcast, 248 to 214. And the first team to get to 270 wins. It shouldn't be any surprise, really, that so many Republicans showed up for President Trump. My observation of the sheer number of trucks on the road certainly was evidence that Republicans would be out in force. These are not electric trucks that are cruising with the Teslas on our highways and back roads. These are big American oil chugging trucks, and they're everywhere. And conventional wisdom has it that when the pickup truck is the American top-selling car in an election year, Republicans are showing up. So we don't know who won, but what we do know a couple of things. We know that we survived an election with huge turnout, which is good. We remain on high alert, but we'll know when we know. And in the meantime, we know that there was no violence or insurrection. There was no Russian fancy bears or North Korean nukes or Chinese flus. Facebook did not pull a coup d'etat. There was no Twitter rebellion, no Google mutiny. The stock market is surging, of course, because it appears there might be continued divided and dysfunctional government, and therefore no time to regulate or oversee because Congress will be too busy fighting and fundraising. Trump is doing Trump. He's using, between now and when the votes are counted, he's using intimidation, threats, bravado. His play is he got his Republican boys in the legislature in the states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And what they did in those states, of course, battleground states, is they made it so that mail-in ballots can only be counted after the election day. And that's because Republicans tend to show up on election day. So Trump, he did that so that he could kind of get this Twitter. He lives in the Twitter gutter. He creates these narratives that flow through the Twitter gutter to his millions and millions of followers. So he just tweets out after Election Day when they just counted the in-person voting, like, hey, I won. And that gets it going. And then he tweets about corrupt mail-in votes. And he strings it all together in a conspiracy. So he's doing that while the votes are being counted. And because he knows, his tweets about this, that I won, mail-in votes are fraudulent. Those tweets, they'll get retweeted. They'll get picked up, retweeted like a snowball rolling down Denali. And it's Trump and his followers. They're like orcs in The Lord of the Rings. They spring from the mud and they go to war. They go to war with their phones and with their guns because these white redneck zombies, they just do whatever they're told by the eye of Sauron, if you know what I mean. So it's like Biden versus Trump, blue versus red. It's Gondor versus Mordor. And Biden, he needs those mail-in votes like Mr. Frodo needs the Riders of Rohan. If, just to take this metaphor to its conclusion, he's playing it cool while, Jill bitch slaps the media and Kamala rides the soul train and Barack Obama hits three-pointers. So we've got two things going on. We got Trump like he's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. He's just boom, 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 boom. If he loses the election, he's not going down alone. Look at Chris Christie. If Trump loses, he is going to make sure that he gets as many left-wing crybabies to wet their bed on his way down. He's going to keep punching, and that's what Trump fans love about him. They could care less what he says. It's the show. It's the Rock'em Sock'em Robots. So whoever wins, don't worry about it. It's out of your hands. And besides, if we're going to use the Lord of the Rings metaphor, remember that, the king, the return of the king happens in the third episode. So it's dramatic. If Trump wins, just keep your eyes on Aragorn in the third movie. Until then, stay in your seats here with me on the Smugsy Show. So the presidency, it's up in the air. We don't know who won, but we know that there was an election. A lot of Americans showed up, and we survived. So democracy is hard at work, and we'll get through it together. On the Senate side, the Smugsy Show, of course, is very humbled to have played a major role in getting Susan Cougar Collins over the finish line in Maine's hotly contested U.S. Senate race. As some of you may recall, there was a dead heat in that national race that absorbed hundreds of millions of dollars. And Collins was named Cougar of the Week, and the show was wildly popular, one of the most popular shows yet. And as a result, she's won her race. So congratulations, Cougar Collins and the Smugsy Show for using our platform to elevate the public dialogue and to improve the state of this great country of ours, to improve our democracy. It's what the Smugsy Show did for the election is similar to what Pornhub did with their give a fuck, get out the vote campaign. That was another role model, I think, how organizations, businesses, shows can get involved and get people out to vote. Pornhub's give a fuck, get a fuck campaign was simple. On election day, users of Pornhub could only use it if they voted. And I'm sure that got a lot of people up and out to the polls. So, like Pornhub, the Smugsy Show is happy to help. Cougar of the Week this week is Joni Grab 'em by the Balls Ernst, the senator and pig castrator from Iowa, who won her hotly contested race. Yesterday, she's a former lieutenant colonel in the Army National Guard, went to Washington. She went to Washington to cut pork, and growing up on a farm in Iowa, castrated hogs. The reason why you castrate a hog, by the way, is because apparently it's to get rid of the boar taint, which is like boars who have reached puberty. If they're cooked and eaten, taste bad. Their balls, if their testicles add a real teenage stench to it. So that's why they castrate the pigs, is to make better tasting meat. So Joni the Cougar Ernst is a pig castrator who is going to Washington, and she wants to reel in government. She wants to it's time to start healing. She went to Washington to cut pork and make big spenders squeal. And with the deficit hitting $3 trillion, I think there's a place for Ernst in Washington, D.C. And I think that getting the boar taint out of the Congress would be a good first step in national healing. So congratulations, Joni Grab 'em by the Balls Ernst, Cougar of the Week. And that's it. That's all for today here on the Smugsy Show. I hope you'll subscribe to the show, follow Smugsy Girl on Twitter, leave a comment, and until next time, this is Smugsy Girl signing off.